Last night, Dana White went live and he gave us some big fights for UFC 322, as well as some additional fights for UFC 321. And I'm going to break down all 5 of those fights that we got in today's video. Feel free to jump around 2 different timestamps. Probably don't want to listen to me break down all of these fights. But before we get into it, I just want to touch on Dana White, because during this live stream, no energy at all, no excitement, no, what's going on guys, I got some big fight announcements for you this weekend. No excitement behind the eyes. It's kind of just like he was forced to be there. He's reading off a script. And I know it's probably late for Dana, you know, big 9 p.m, gotta be in bed. 3 a.m. for me, by the way. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I would have given it more excitement at 3 a.m. and this guy would have given it at 9 p.m, you know what I mean? It's kind of become a common theme with Dana White now, where he's going to these events, he's talking about UFC, there's no excitement behind what he's doing. It's kind of like he's just showing up for the sake of showing up. And I like Dana White. I like him as the president of the UFC, especially with the way that he likes to stand his base on certain topics. He's champion of free speech as well, so we're not getting fucking fighters fined and cut from the promotion for saying dumb shit like Bryce Mitchell or like Sean Strickland. But what I will say is, even if you compare this to like UFC 294, you can, like, people were making edits out those announcements because they sounded exciting. UFC 294, Abu Dhabi, Charles Oliveira will defend his UFC lightweight belt against Islam Makhachev. Oh no, it's Islam defending against Charles. Oh, it doesn't really matter. Anyway, whatever. We'll move on into the actual fights now. I'm done with my Dana White rant. Starting off with the big one. Jack Della Maddalena versus Islam Makhachev, Welterweight World Championship, Madison Square Garden, November 15th, UFC 322. We knew this fight was going to happen, we just didn't really have a location or a date. Now we do. I'm picking JDM to win. I'm going to break down the fight first before I start telling you my predictions. But this is an interesting fight. Obviously, Islam Makhachev, he's got alright boxing on the feet, but I feel like his boxing is kind of more, it's more set up by the threat of the takedown. So by the threat of Islam Makhachev taking you down, you kind of drop your hands a little bit. You're kind of a little bit more twitchy to level changes. And then Islam Makhachev uses that to try and set up head kicks, to set up knees, to do his work within the clinch as well. And then also work his boxing. So I don't really think that's going to work against JDM. I think JDM's just a little bit too sharp, a little bit too stupid as well to fall for some of those level changes that Islam Makhachev tends to do. And we can talk about the submission threat of Islam Makhachev. The way that Islam Makhachev sets up his famous Darce choke is by waiting for his opponent to scramble out. And the way that JDM scrambles out isn't by trying to get to sprawl and then working his way back up to his feet in the clinch and then pushing off like Poirier tried to do, like Moicano tried to do. JDM just fucking rolls, bro. JDM just rolls out that position. That's what JDM does. And I feel like he's going to be able to scramble out of bottom position a few times against Makhachev. Belal Muhammad is the perfect training camp for Islam Makhachev. JDM's coming off that Belal Muhammad win. Belal is a slightly worse version of Islam. He does everything that Makhachev does. That is the perfect setup matchup for Islam Makhachev, and I love that for JDM. So I'm probably going to pick JDM to win this one. I don't really know what happens with Makhachev if he loses. Does he stay up at welterweight? Does he, we've heard him saying that he's struggling to bulk up. Does he stay at 170? Does he move back down to 155? If he moves back down to 155, he could definitely just walk straight back into a title fight with Ilia Topuria. With some of the prospects we have in that welterweight division, if I'm Islam Makhachev, I'm going, keep me at lightweight. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think JDM wins. I think Islam Makhachev will move back down to 155 pretty easily. And then I think he's going to get sparked out cold by Ilia Topuria. So, yeah. Moving on. Co-main event. Shevchenko versus Zhang Weili. Zhang Weili's moving up from the women's strawweight division to fight at flyweight against Shevchenko. Interesting fight, I'm going to be honest. I think Shevchenko gets this one done, to be honest. But Zhang Weili is pretty strong. You saw the way she just picked up Ngannou like he was nothing. 280 pound Ngannou. He was out of camp at the time. Just fucking picked him up. I think Shevchenko will get this one done. To be fair, against Firat, she didn't actually look that good. I thought it was quite a close fight. This is an early prediction. This is not going to be my official prediction. I need to rewatch fights and whatever. But does lighter man skill apply for the women's strawweight division? That's all we need to find out. I'm going to pick Shevchenko to win. I think Shevchenko wins this one. Obviously, I may change my mind to Zhang, but Zhang might just be a little bit too small. 10 pounds is a big difference, especially in those lighter weight classes. Obviously, when you get to heavyweight, you look at the guy who's like 10 pounds lighter, it's like, okay, whatever. But it's a bigger difference because it's like a higher percentage of the actual body mass. But I'm going to pick Shevchenko to win this one. Think she might just be a little bit stronger. Maybe. Fuck knows. We'll see. Yeah. So I'm going to pick Shevchenko to win this one. Moving on. Leon Edwards versus Carlos Prates. This is a fun one. I think Carlos Prates puts Leon Edwards out cold. We've seen his chin put on display multiple times. He gets rocked by pitter-patter volume puncher Nate Diaz. Obviously, against Brady as well, Edwards looked very wobbly after round number 2 of taking some light ground and pound shots from Sean Brady. I think Edwards, he's a very talented striker, don't get me wrong, but I think Prates could probably set up any attack on that left-hand side and put him out cold. So, yeah, I'm going to pick Prates to win this one. I might absolutely change my perspective again, like I did on the Edwards-Brady fight, and come up with some sort of narrative where I think Leon Edwards is the best fighter in the world, when he just isn't. So, but this is a pure striking matchup for Leon Edwards, and it depends if he can take Prates to that 48-47 decision, especially with how fast Prates is and how, like, stationary Edwards is. Bro, you watch that Bilal fight, Bilal was stinging him with jabs. I don't like that for Edwards, especially against Prates, who's got knockout power. He's gonna flatline KO him, bro. Oh my god. Anyway, I think Prates wins this fight. We're gonna move on to Yuck is this matchup. I feel for Abu Dhabi. I don't feel for them at all. They always get amazing fights. But this isn't one of them. Jandiroba versus Dern. Jandiroba is boring. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna say it now. Her last fight against Zhao Nan was pretty mid. I mean, she waited till the last moment to even attempt a submission. You know what I mean? She would wait until 10 seconds left in the round. You hear the clappers go, and then she thought, oh, submission attempt. Boring. Dern is alright, but Dern's gonna lose. We're not seeing Dern as a champion. Give me Jandiroba to win this one. I would say rounds 4 submission, but I'm thinking this one goes to a fucking decision, you know. Give me Jandiroba by decision, booed by all of the Abu Dhabi fans. It's not really the best in terms of fight potential, and I don't think the Abu Dhabi fans are going to be too happy with it. I'm going to be honest. Anyway, the last fight announced by Dana White last night was Mario Bautista versus Umar Nurmagomedov, also on that UFC 321 card. We knew this fight was going to happen. I thought this would happen in Qatar, because they're doing a fight night in Qatar. But they're putting it on the Abu Dhabi card. Obviously, they love Umar Nurmagomedov in Abu Dhabi. Mario Bautista is a tricky style matchup for Umar Nurmagomedov. Mario Bautista is like a Marab with slightly better boxing and slightly worse cardio. I don't think it's the case that Umar's going to school him. You know what I mean? I don't think Umar's going to win every single round. I think Bautista might make it tricky inside like round 2, round 3. Obviously, Umar's not going to gas out in the same way. He's not fighting fucking, Goblin Marab. But I think Bautista can give him a tough fight, and I think he will give him tough moments. I mean, Batista's very good. People underrate Bautista so much because of what he did for what he did to Aldo. But he's put together some really good wins, and he's fighting pretty well, and he's a monster when he needs to be. People forget, man. Mario Bautista is a marauder when he needs to be one. I think this is a close fight. I might pick Mario Bautista to win this one, just out of spite. But no, I'm going to probably pick Umar to win. I'm going to pick Umar to win by close decision. I think it's going to be a 29-28. But that's it for this video. Let me know which one of these is your favorite fights. For me, it's probably Edwards versus Prates or JDM Makhachev. I like the sound of JDM Makhachev. But let me know what you think. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.